breaking news in connection with that. The Wikileaks founder, Julian Assange, has been remanded in custody at the City of Westminster Magistrates Court today, ahead of a full extradition hearing on the 14th of December over claims he committed sex offences in Sweden. So the hearing today was partly to decide whether he would get bailed until that later, more in detail hearing. And the news that we're getting here at the BBC is that he will not be bailed. He's going to be remanded in custody until that full extradition hearing on the 14th of December. Now, let's talk to our correspondent John Brain, who's on the phone. So, a dramatic afternoon in court, John.
Yes, it does appear to have been quite dramatic indeed. Julian Assange was asked whether he consented to extradition, or rather that he understood he could consent to extradition. He said he did understand, but that no, he did not consent. There was then the charges were read out in detail, these 4 charges which include rape and sexual molestation. These are the charges that the Swedish authorities want to question him about back in Sweden, and there was also a debate on whether he should receive bail. In the event the bail was refused, on the grounds that the prosecution were arguing that he was subject to any number of what were described as unstable persons because of the leaks, and he has been remanded in custody until December the 14th. Now, there will next take place a much fuller hearing on the arguments of extradition, but he could, in theory, be back facing those charges in Sweden within 10 weeks. On the other hand, he could, we understand, appeal to the Supreme Court if the hearing here goes against him in that time.
Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, John, but we're just getting in some more information about what happened in court. We're hearing that 5 people stood up in court offering to stand bail for Julian Assange, including John Pilger and Jemima Khan. Did you hear anything of that nature?
Yes, that's right, and also the film director Ken Loach, an indication perhaps of some of the support that Julian Assange has got. Some of that support is actually here outside the court. A number of people, you may be able to hear them, have gathered to demonstrate against his arrest, because of course his supporters believe that this has been politically motivated. I mean, the Swedish authorities say this is clearly criminal offences which he's alleged to have committed and which he needs to face back in Sweden. Julian Assange's supporters believe that this must be all bound up in the Wikileaks saga. They believe it's too much of a coincidence that he's being pursued by the authorities at a time when the Wikileaks saga is causing so much consternation in governments around the world.
In terms of the extradition hearing on the 14th of December, what powers does the judge have to refuse extradition?
Well, that really depends on what arguments Julian Assange's lawyers use in the court. They may say that the charges are not authentic, that they've been somehow trumped up, that they are political. They may investigate the fact that Julian Assange is an Australian citizen. They may say that complicates things as far as the European arrest warrant goes. But we really have to wait and see what arguments are used in that hearing and how the judge responds to them. But the whole idea of this European extradition arrangement is it's supposed to make things much simpler between European countries, that if one country wants to question a citizen who's in another country, it's much easier than anyone outside the EU.
Did you sense that it was a surprise to Julian Assange and his legal team that he wasn't granted bail today?
Well, I think they were certainly expecting to be granted bail. They certainly applied for it, and certainly supporters out here, that's one of the first things they've been saying, is that they think it's outrageous that he's being remanded in custody. Interesting arguments being used that they considered, or the prosecution considered, that he would be prey to many unstable people because of the Wikileaks saga. Well, let's just move the camera over to see a bit of a hullabaloo outside the court. This could well be Mark Stevens, the lawyer leaving. There was a huge commotion when he arrived earlier on, and you can just gives you the sign, a clue as just how major this story is across the world. There are camera crews from many parts of the world here. Dozens and dozens of crews have gathered outside this court because, as I say, this Wikileaks saga has ramifications right around the world. So many countries have been involved in the leaks. But that's as far as this process goes for now. So Julian Assange has been remanded in custody until December the 14th, when there'll be a fuller hearing on whether he can be extradited to Sweden to face those criminal charges. Charges which the Swedish authorities claim have nothing to do with the Wikileaks saga. That's something, of course, that his supporters are protesting about.
John, we can see light bulbs flashing away behind you. We're going to let you get into that media scrum there and see what's going on. We'll come back to you later. Thank you for now, though.
In other news, a South African Divani has